Welcome back to Puff Time, a time where I smoke a cigarette, kill my lungs, and talk about what's on my mind. In my last Puff Time, in my last Puff Time, I talked about anger. I did my introduction to anger. So in this little segment of my anger discussion, because this is going to be an ongoing topic, because I know my Puff Times are usually randomly generated, but for now it's going to be about anger. And if you're not happy with that, well, leave a comment and tell me what you want me to talk about, and then maybe I'll talk about it. There's a little more distraction this time around. My puppy is out, so if you hear jingle bells, that would be her chasing her own tail. But in this segment, part of the anger thing, yeah, I would say study, but I'm not studying it. Study you. Defining your anger. My anger occurs primarily when I am ignored or mistreated, so you can say it's part of my defense system. Now, this is a big one, I think, because anger can be defined in different ways. And like I said before, a lot of people use anger for different reasons, or in different ways. But for me, it's a defense mechanism. If something's not going my way, and let's be fair, I'm not trying to be whiny about it, but I'm just saying if things are just not really going my way, whether it's that day or with a particular person, I tend to get angry and use it as my defense. Because typically it makes people back off of you a few inches or feet because they're scared of you. And I know I'm not necessarily intimidating because I'm only 5'3", but I think ultimately when it comes down to it, anyone who is angry is scary. Because they're throwing stuff, or they're yelling, or they're just making a complete idiot of themselves being angry around you, that you don't want anything to do with it. There's a common thread for anger, the lack of respect. So a lot of people get angry when they're not respected, or their space isn't respected, or their opinions or views aren't respected. Whether or not it was the intention of the sender, the message I perceived was, your worth is none of my concern. In personal communications, perceptions are more powerful than intentions, and that's a big one. Because a lot of times people don't intend to make you angry. It's easy to get stuck in that and to get wrapped up in, oh, well, she's probably thinking this, or he's probably out to get me. And a lot of times it's in our own mind, and we're the ones who ultimately cause our demise, because we're the ones who ultimately get so angry at something that wasn't even intentional that we take it out that way, and it's miscommunication, and that's a big one. Because lack of communication is just cause for all kinds of drama and anger in any kind of relationship, whether you're married, dating, friendship. You've got to have communication. You just have to, because if you don't, what is going to be of it? Nothing. Humans have many complex needs. We have an intricate system of needs that must be satisfactorily addressed if we are to have emotional well-being. When our essential needs are not addressed, or when they're invalidated, the result is emotional turmoil. We feel hurt and angry. Can anyone honestly sit there and tell me that if they feel like their needs are pushed to the side, or that they're invalid, or that they don't matter? I don't think anyone could honestly tell me that that doesn't hurt a little bit on the inside. Whether it's somebody who really means a lot to you or just some random stranger on the street, you're still going to be offended. And ultimately, it can cause anger to be built up. Now, these are just some of my personal needs. You may have others. But for me, I need alone time. I'm an introvert. I don't like being around big groups of people, especially people that I don't know or trust. But being alone for too long can really hurt you, because you can box yourself out of your life, and you can ultimately end up getting lost in your thoughts and negativity, and it can consume you. Because you need interaction, whether it be with your parents or with your friends. You need some sort of interaction with people, because if you're just by yourself all the time, it's easy to drown in your own thoughts. and to get really negative. Another personal need of mine is to feel loved. I can't stress to you how hard it is when you don't feel loved, because it's like you pour your heart and soul into people and you care so much and then you receive nothing back and it hurts. So feeling love is very important for me. Another one of my personal needs is I need time to relax, whether it's with people or without people. I like having time to wind down, to calm down, and to reevaluate my day or what I went through. Because ultimately, I mean, you can't just keep going and going and going without having that alone time to kind of wind down, read a book, watch TV, sleep, just little things to kind of help you calm down, get your focus right, and get set up for the next day. And my number 4 personal need is to know that I matter. If I feel like I don't matter, that's just not a good thing. I mean, there's not really anything else I can say about that. I think that is one of the most obvious ones. I think everyone wants to feel like they have a place in this world and that they matter, and that they have people who care about them. Because if you feel that you don't matter or feel that no one cares, I mean, that's just a recipe for being depressed or feeling down. So it's very important, and I think that's another thing that falls in line with the communication. You need to communicate these needs, because if you don't, they're not going to be met. Because if you just don't say anything and assume that everyone's going to know what your needs are, good luck getting them met. Because it's not just going to come to you. Life's not just going to hand you what you need. You need to let it know. In many cases, the anger is unquestionably legitimate because it's normal to expect some of these needs to be met. Like I just said, you're going to expect some of your needs to be met. Like personal space, that's one that I expect to be met because you can't just be all upon somebody all the time. I mean, you need to back away with that. So, those needs need to be met. In other instances, however, the anger can be misguided or overstated because it represents a picky or selfish demand. Sometimes you can feel angry because you feel that your needs aren't met when you haven't even expressed them. And that just falls in line with, that's your fault. You've got to express your needs. You have to. And it's hard sometimes because you may feel like you're going to be judged for your needs, but everybody's got them. Everybody has needs. And it's not realistic to think that people are going to judge you for your needs, because who doesn't have needs? As odd as they may be sometimes, but who doesn't have them? We need not fret when humans refuse to acknowledge our needs. This doesn't mean we never try to communicate our legitimate needs. Instead, we ultimately choose to recognize that life can and will go on, even if we feel inhibited by insensitive people. My cigarette is out. I'm just going to put it down there. Puff time over! No. If I based my puff time on how long my cigarettes lasted, my puff times would literally be like 5 minutes. But as everybody knows, my puff times are usually 20 plus. So, way to go, Victoria. But that's a big one. I underline can and will because life doesn't slow down for anyone. What is that song? Life in the fast lane. Because you can either ride life in the fast lane or the slow lane, but hey, life is still a highway. You can't just stop in the middle of the highway, because what happens when you stop in the middle of the highway? Car wreck happens. But it's true. You can't just stop and expect life to stop for you, because it doesn't. Uncertainty makes you more vulnerable to emotional highs and lows. If you don't know what's ahead of you, you're going to be surprised. I have to remind myself every day that not all my needs have been neglected. Sometimes it's easy to act like nobody cares about my needs, but that is not true. Okay? A lot of times people get caught up in that. Like, okay, you've got a lot of people in your life. A lot. Now, it may not feel like it sometimes because not everyone is always there for you, but maybe you feel that your need has not been met from a certain person, but your need may have been met from somebody else that you didn't really pay attention to. All right, now, I'm going to read these out, and you viewers at home, can respond to these, whether out loud in your mind, in the comments, whatever, or you can just ignore me and be like, wow, continue talking. This is not an interactive video. When someone ignores my legit needs, I can avoid responding with anger by what would you say?
Being a clam.
Being a clam. Being a clam means completely reclusing and closing off. I said you can call them out. If you're feeling brave, you can say, hey, I noticed that you totally ignored my need. What up with that, yo? Wait, hold on. What up with that, yo? You totally ignored my need, man. What up? What up with that? You know, maybe they didn't even realize that they ignored your need. Maybe they weren't aware because you didn't communicate it to them. Alright, here's another one. Respond to this. I know I am too worried about my needs when I fill in the blank. What about you? I'm interacting with my audience. Iris, you know you're too worried about your needs when you what? I expect my food to be in my bowl every morning. Okay. She said when that's all I think about. That's a good one.
And I focus always on me and not the needs of others.
When you always focus on your own needs and not other people's needs. That's a big one, because if you're so concerned about your needs and you focus so much on your own needs that you completely push everyone else's needs away and you don't consider them, that's a recipe for being alone for the rest of your life. You're going to drive everyone away, and that's not always a good thing. And you're miserable. It's like I'm getting comment cards, but I like them because it's another person's input and it's good. But yeah, I put when I expect them all to be met. That's when I know I'm worried too much, is when I expect every single one of my needs to be met. That is not realistic at all. You're not going to have every single need of yours met in your lifetime. Now, these are some convictions I cling to that can result in anger. Now, this means, like, there's certain things that I just hold on to no matter what, that I know for a fact are going to result in anger. But yet I still hold on to them anyway because it's just me. But, now again, these may be different to you, but these are mine. People who are disruptive. For example, movie theaters. It's like, okay, the movie has already been directed, and it's already been filmed and everything, so you shouting at them to do something different is not going to affect the way the movie plays out. So just calm down, please, or go sit somewhere else. And I can't stand when I sit next to somebody in a theater who's like, hey, did you see that? No! I'm sorry. I was asleep. We're not watching the same, like, massive TV screen or movie screen, whatever. I totally didn't pay $10 to come in here and just stare at the ground. Yes, I saw that. Stop it. Go get some popcorn or something. Go to the bathroom and just don't come back. Forget which theater we're in. Go sit somewhere else. Of course I'm going to get angry because of course there's going to be people in every single movie theater who have to say something. Oh no. Hey, I'm in a movie right now, I can't talk. Oh really? Haha, that's funny. No, hang up your phone now. Hello. Another one I cling to is road rage. When I drive, I'm always like on the defense mode. I'm always like, somebody's probably going to cut me off. Somebody's probably going to pull out in front of me and then turn. Somebody's probably going to pull out in front of me and then go 1,500,000 miles under the speed limit. Somebody's probably going to ride my butt. Man, I'm still going to be angry about it. Drive normal. I mean, the word rage is in it. So you know it's going to result in anger, but you still do it. It's difficult to know how to manage feelings of anger when our convictions are violated. It is. Because you expect these things to happen, and you don't know how to manage them. It is possible to be so filled with good options, opinions, that these opinions seem to give too much justification for unloving outbursts. In other words, being right can lead to being wrong. I'm gonna repeat that. Being right can lead to being wrong. Hey, I'm gonna say that again. Being right can lead to being wrong. Okay? Listen. Hey, listen. Balance is found when anger is linked to a reasonable issue and is communicated in a proper manner. So what that's saying is you can find balance when your anger is there, but you're like, hey, I'm going to communicate this in a nice way. I may be really mad that you said that, but think of it this way. And be calm when you talk to people about something you're angry about. Don't just scream at them, because let's be honest, who's going to listen to somebody who's screaming versus somebody who's just kind of talking? Right? Right, yeah. So yeah, that was part 2 of my ongoing anger study. And I'm going to be probably pulling from 2 different books, because I have 2 different books on anger. There's Anger Antidotes, and then there's the book that I've been kind of taking these notes from. So I'm going to be doing my research for you guys. So it's all for you and for me, for reference. But anyway, that was defining your anger. So stay tuned for my next part, which is going to be managing your anger, and the 5 ways to handle your anger, which kind of wraps up in that, managing and handling. So stay tuned for that, and until then, I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.